Be recording here in a second. Now, I think the last thing I talked about with y'all is the word is. I think that was the last thing I talked about because I ran out of time. Is. What am I talking about is? Well, we all know that is a very important word in math. Very important. And the reason it's important is because it means equals. Is means equals. And why is equals very important? Because with all equations, you have two sides. And what are those sides? The left-hand side of the equal sign and the what? The right-hand side of the equal sign. The left-hand side is usually made up of the function or the terms that are being used. Somebody tell me what the right-hand side is usually.
Answer?
It's usually the total or the sum or the product, the quotient, and all that good stuff. So the equal sign is very, very, very important. So if you can determine what the equal sign, where the is, then you kind of beat the word problem halfway, because then you know where the total goes and you know where the components go. Now, I will tell you right now that the most important thing in 6.3 is for the student to be able to what? Read. Now, I'm not here telling you that y'all are illiterate. That's not what I'm talking about. What's the two different definitions of reading? What are the two different definitions? There's two definitions of reading. What are they? Being able to read a word. But what about when you read a story? What are you supposed to get? What are you supposed to be able to do after you read a paragraph or two paragraphs or three paragraphs? What are you supposed to be able to do?
Understand it or tell
Understand
it to
it. It's called reading. Starts with a C.
Comprehension.
Comprehension. All right. So if you have no reading comprehension, then you might have a problem with, doing these problems, because you have to actually look at the problem and you have to actually see what it's asking versus just reading the problem. With all equations, you have two sides, left-hand side, right-hand side. And then I ask you a question 5 seconds after and you go, huh? That's not going to work. All right. So when I talk about finding the is, that means you got to look into the question and look at it and say, okay, what am I looking for? Instead of, I don't know how to do word problems. I hate word problems. I'm going to suck at it. And then read the question and then you don't retain anything. All right. So let's go ahead and look at a problem. Let's look at one that's on the slides. Kind of ease you into it. Be gentle. All right, there's one problem right there. I want you to copy that down. Jana purchased a copier for $2,300 and a 1-year maintenance protection plan that costs 2 cents per copy. If Jana spends a ding total of $26.26 in a year, which includes the cost of the copier and the copies made, determine the number of copies. All right, here we don't have an is, we have a total. So automatically, go ahead and write the question down. automatically, when we're reading this problem, hold on. When you're reading this problem, the first thing that should pop out is that word right there, total. And I'm going to highlight that. That word right there should pop out. It should be the biggest flag in this whole problem. So I'm going to write a big equal sign. And I'm going to put 2626 to the right of it. And I've got half the problem solved. Because half the problem is setting it up. And I'm starting to set it up right now. So you could actually take this and mark it out. Okay, because I'm done with that. I don't like doing that, so I'm going to change that to, I don't have a translucent black. Well, I could hit, no, I can't go to more colors. So I'll use that. Oh, wait a minute. I'm talking to myself, y'all. So y'all just going to have to just bear with me a second. There we go. So all of this now, if Jana spends $100 a year, a total of blah, blah, blah. Okay, you can mark that out now. I wonder if I could, let's see, format text effects. No. I was just looking to see if I could do something else. Font. There we go. Boom. Oh, let me try the whole thing. There we go. Dadgummit, I can't get everything to work right. Everything is working backwards. This is a conspiracy. There. Now I'm going to hit font and strike through. Okay, it's not going to work, but anyway, that's out. Now, we got to set up the left-hand side now.
Mr.
We got to set up this, and it's going to be made up of this. This is kind of like the Walmart equation. The Walmart equation says what? What does the Walmart equation say? Anybody say something? Mr. Pack, did you say something? Walmart equation.
I did. If you try to go to where the line is marked out and just highlight it and go to the format printer, and it will take that format, and then all you have to do is just go through the line and it will do that format to it.
So highlight this.
Yep, and then go up to your top left where it says format printer. You see it?
Yeah.
Yeah, down below.
Uh-huh.
Right there, click it. Okay, and then now all you gotta do now is highlight what you want, and it should format the way that is.
Thank you. Thank you.
You're welcome.
All right. So Walmart equation says the price plus or minus percentage price equals the total. Okay, that's the Walmart equation. So I got to find a price. Where does it look like there's a price? Do y'all see anything that looks like, hey, this costs blank?
The 2,300.
The 2,300, exactly. So it goes right here, plus, and the reason I say plus is it says, Jana purchased a copier for 2,300 and a 1-year protection plan, and a means plus, that cost 2 cents per X. 0.02 per X per copy. And that is how you do that question. So the Walmart equation that we used way back in chapter 10.1, it still applies to some of the problems we're doing. Except this one's a plus because it says and the. She bought a printer for $2,300 and the protection plan of $2 per copy. And the total is $26.26. Now, I'm no rocket science, but this looks like what? Algebra. So how do you get rid of 2,300? You take it where? Across the river. And that makes 0.02x is equal to 326. Y'all help me out.
You're right.
Divide by 0.02. Somebody help me out there.
Uh, 16,300.
So how many copies can she make per year? She can make 16,000 copies. When she starts going over 16,000 copies, she'll probably have to pay more per copy. It's kind of like leasing a car and only driving it 5,000 per year. Kind of the same concept. That is a test question because, and the reason I put that on the test is because it follows the Walmart equation that we learned way back a long time ago. Okay, so let's do a nerd. And you see there is the answer, or there's the setup. And there is the answer. And you feel good about yourself. All right, look at this one. Mark IV Construction Company purchased 100 acres of land. Okay, I'm going to draw a picture. And sometimes it helps to draw a picture. And since I was a surveyor for about 40 years of my life, I'm good at this. So we're going to draw a piece of property, and it's 100 acres. I don't know how to spell acres. All right, 100 acres. And we're going to split it into, I think it says 3 tracts, doesn't it? Yeah, 3 parcels. Now, the main thing in here is don't look at the size and think one is bigger than the other. Don't do that. You're putting your size, your sensibility of size in the algebra, the mental aspect of it. Don't sit here and go, well, this looks a little bit bigger than these 2. No, don't do that. Okay? Put not to scale. Not to scale. You let your algebra and your brain set up the size. Okay, so somebody tell me, here's my equal sign. Somebody tell me what goes on the right hand side of the equal sign here.
The 100 acres.
100 acres. Okay, now let's read. That's this part right here. So we can take that part right there. And we can technically, now it shouldn't do the whole thing. That's why I did this. Strike out that whole thing. Do a double strike through. Now see, that's not the way that's supposed to work. I'm sorry, but that's not the way it's supposed to work. You're supposed to highlight it like that. That's backwards. All right, so we're done with that. Now what's left of the left side is what's left. So let's look at the left side. One parcel of land will be 3 times, that's multiplication right there, as large as each of the other 2. So what is always the unknown? The unknown is always what in algebra? The unknown
X
is X. So we know that the unknown is X. And we know that one partial is 3 times as big as the other 2. Well, let's say forget the question that we're doing right now, and I want to ask you one question. What if each one of these was equal? What would you call each one of them? What plus what is equal to 100? What would you say? Since you don't know, what are they called?
Would it be like X plus X plus X?
Okay, yes. If they were all 3 equal, it would be X plus X plus X. But they're not equal, are they? What's the only 2 that are equal?
The one that's not the other 2 that
3
aren't 3
times,
times
right?
as large. Yeah.
Yes. So I'm going to call this one X, and I'm going to call this one X, because these 2 are equal. This one would be X if they were all equal. Does everybody understand that?
Okay.
So could you not just say 2X instead of
Wait
just
a minute.
saying X?
Let me finish. Okay, if all 3 are X, does everybody agree that if the question said all 3 partials are equal, it would be X plus X plus X? Does everybody agree with that?
Mm-hmm.
Yep.
For those people that interact, so all 3 of you agree with that. Okay?
Yeah.
So what does the question say? The question says that one of the partials, let me find it. One partial will be 3 times as large as the other 2. So we're going to call one of these not X, but what?
Y?
3X.
3x. Yeah.
One partial is 3 times as large as the others. Now, you said a while ago that you believed if all 3 were equal, they would be called X, right? Then what would 3 times one of those be? 3X. Now, the only thing I don't like about this problem is that it's divided into 3 parts, and this is 3X. I wish they would have said 5 times as large or 4 times as large. But in this case, the 3 and the 3 partials is the same thing. That's what I don't like about this example. Now, that shows you that a teacher did not write this problem. A teacher would never make the partials equal to the times. That you could tell this was written probably by, somebody that just made it up or whatever. I don't know, but it wasn't a math teacher. Might have been a math person, but it wasn't a math teacher, because I would have made this a 4 or 5 or a 2 or something different from the 3 partials of property. But anyway, 3X. And what are in front of these?
1.
1X, 1X. And what do we do? What's 3X plus 1X plus 1X?
5x.
5X. And how do you undo multiplying by 5? You divide by 5. X is equal to 20. Now, are we through with the problem? No.
No.
These 2 are 20 acres. What's this one?
Whatever 20 times 3 is?
60.
Now, you can do that 2 ways. You can either plug it in, or you can say, well, that's 40 acres and there's 100 in the whole thing. So if these 2 are 40 acres, what's this one? 100 minus 40 is what? 60.
60.
Either way, you're going to come out with the same thing. So each of the two tracks are 20 acres apiece. Now, I always forget how to do the I before E. And I don't need anybody to teach me, but I think that's right. All right. And the third is 60 acres. Because I always heard I before E, except after blah, 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 blah. And I really have never learned that, so
You're good.
I suck at it. What is it?
It's I before E except after C.
Yeah, and receive, every time I spell
Except
receive, I
enabling
spell
what?
it wrong. So I hate the word receive. I hate the word receive and necessary. I hate those two words. Y'all ever have a word that you hate to spell?
Yeah.
Well, give me your word, Miss Grindle. What's your word that you hate to spell?
How about supercalifragilisticexpialidocious?
No, that's not a real word. Oh well, Miss Grindle's not going to participate. So, anybody else got a word that they don't like to spell?
I
Oh, yeah,
also
that's
struggle
right.
with receive.
You always okay. So I'm not the only one.
Nah, you're not.
I suck at IE. All right, here we go. What's his name? Is building a rectangular sandbox for his children. Oh, isn't he the father of the year? All right. My son asked for something. I tell him to go jump in the lake. All right. He's building a rectangular sandbox for his children. He has 34 feet of wood. 34 feet of wood basically means perimeter. Okay? Because that's all you got. All right? What should be the dimensions of the sandbox if he wants the length to be 3 foot greater? Okay, so let's break this up. And somebody tell me what that sentence right there says.
Is that the equals?
That is equal to 34. So blank plus blank is equal to 34. Now, why did I put two sides on the left-hand side? Because this is a quadrilateral. And the perimeter for a quadrilateral, which means a square or a rectangle, is equal to 2L plus what? 2W. If you're from around here, it's W. D-U-B-Y-A. But if you're not from around here and you speak perfect English, it's W. I say W.
I said W too.
I love how people give on TV. So if you want to come to WWW, I'm like, okay, all right.
I mean, yeah, but people also call soda pop. So.
Oh yeah, and I can't stand that. I call it Coke. That's what I call it. Or drink.
I say soda sometimes.
A drink. I want a drink. That's drink.
I want a drink, yeah.
D-R-A-N-K. That is something in a can that's not beer. Okay? Because if you want beer, you just say I want beer. B-E-R, beer. Cold beer. So why do I put two blanks? I put two blanks because perimeter is 2L plus 2W. W. I live in Belton. Never heard of Belton before. Heard of Belton, but I've never heard of Belton. Powdersville. Whatever. So 2L plus 2W. Now let's go back to your show. Let's go back, and I'm going to mark that out. I'm going to mark all this out where they're talking about him being Father of the Year and all that. We're going to take all that out, and of course, it's not going to let me do it because something's quirky going on with this thing. You're supposed to hit font and strike through, and it's supposed to do it, but for some reason, it's doing it backwards, so you have to go up here and do it. You usually don't have to do that. And now it's not doing it at all. So y'all get the point. I'm just going to highlight it because I'm not going to fiddle with it. What should the dimensions be of the box if he wants the length to be is L equals. Length to be is L equals. L equals 3 foot greater than, well, what I tell you to do about greater than the what? The width. When you've got greater than or more than, what do? Crisscross. So length is equal to W plus what? 3. And we're going to plug that in for what?
L.
Length. So 2 times parentheses plus 2W is equal to 34. Now I want you to plug that W plus 3 in there, and I want you to do your magic, do your algebra, sorry. Plug in that W plus 3 right there, and do your algebra. I'm sorry, W plus 3. Greenville. How many of you have ever heard of Greenville around here? I've heard of Greenville.
Yeah,
Greenville.
I just heard Greenville.
Huh? Greenville. V-U-L. Greenville. Oh, me oh my. I'm having fun. It's called a sense of humor.
What is that?
I know. Like when I call myself a terrorist, since I'm an NRA member and I'm a terrorist. They're going after Pepe Le Pew now.
Whatever.
I'm glad we got important things to worry about. Hey, I told you the other day, I'm glad because now my son can focus. My son can focus on burning prostitutes.
Forgot it's not shit.
Hello.
Hello? I don't think they know they're muted.
No, mute your.
Not gonna be seen in that orange thing. And where I got this, bro, y'all don't even understand. I found such a good play.
Who is that?
Okay. All right. Well, that's still not as bad as when the boyfriend went off on the girlfriend during my class. I told y'all about that, right?
Oh.
Well, that happened. But anyway, like I said, I'm glad they're getting rid of Dr. Seuss and Pepe Le Pew and that way my son is safe. So
They
he can
tried
focus.
that, and then did you hear that on Amazon that Dr. Seuss books became one of like the top sellers like overnight?
Yep. But my son now can focus on his hijacking cars and killing prostitutes on Grand Theft Auto. He can focus on that, which he don't have. But anyway, I would never let him play that. So anyway, 2W plus 6 plus 2W is equal to 34. And I'm going to go over here. What is 2W plus 2W?
4.
4 what, Miss Grindle?
4 W.
W.
W
4W plus.
plus 6 is equal to 34. And take that 6 across the river. 4W is equal to 28. And W is equal to 7. Now, whatever units that is, I'm assuming is feet. Are we done? No. That's 7 feet. That's 7 feet. What's the length? 7 plus 3 is what?
10.
And that should equal 34 feet of lumber. And you feel good about yourself. Do you notice I draw a picture? I set it up. I look for, what do I look for first after I set up the picture? I look for
The equals.
the equal sign. I always look for the equal sign first, or the word total, or the word sum. Something to distinguish what goes to the right of the equal sign. Because tell me something. If I figure out what goes to the right of the equal sign, how much of the equation have I figured out?
Half of it.
Half of it. And I guarantee you there's people that's gone through 12 years of school that's never heard of finding the equal sign first. I guarantee you somebody out there has, or they didn't listen, one of the two. Next one. And let's see if we got it right. Yep. And what you call it became the father of the year. Well, I give my son a keg to play with. All right. Kim is selling her homemade jewelry at a craft show. Determine the cost of a necklace. This is Walmart equation. I'm not even going. X plus or minus percentage X is equal to the total.
34.56.
And what is the total? Let's read it. Determine the cost of the necklace before tax if blah, 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 8% tax is 34.56. So we know that we're going to put 34.56 over here. And somebody tell me, is tax added or subtracted?
Subtract.
Added.
It's added. Taxes are always added. X 0.08x. And what is 1 plus 0.08? That's $1.08. Divide by 1.08. Somebody do that for me, please. Please don't mess it up. 34.56 divided by 1.08.
32.
32 even?
Yeah, that's what my calculator says.
That's usually, it's not even like that. Usually it comes out with some change.
That's what I got.
32 bucks.
I got 32.91.
I got 32 even.
Okay, I'm going to the calculator. Y'all set me up for failure. Do it. Y'all like to do that. 34
Hey, I was the one who helped you out earlier.
divided by 1.08.
He's just gonna say it's a conspiracy theory.
It is 32 even. So those of you that got changed, y'all don't know how to work your calculator. So the answer is 32. Or the Russians have gotten into your calculator, so you might want to go out and throw it into the lake because they're tracking you.
Through your calculator.
32.
Well, my calculator's on my phone, so.
Fair.
Oral Horatio. Oral Horatio. A proportion is a fraction. Always try to clear it. You can cross multiply here. All right. I don't like this question because people get confused. I wish there was another way we could do this question.
I don't even want to read that one.
Yeah, I know, but we have to.
You right.
All right. Insulin comes in vials labeled with the number of insulin units per cubic centimeter. cc's of fluid. An insulin vial labeled U40, which you could call that penicillin, that U40. Why don't they just call it penicillin or something? Why do they have to put another number? Because they're trying to confuse you.
That's not confuse you.
Okay, so ignore that. Just mark that out. And has 40 insulin units per 1 cc of fluid. So this is what you're going to do. The first thing you're going to do when you see that per is you're going to say 40 insulin units. Units 40 is equal to 1 cc, and I'm going to put, let's see, insulin units.
Wouldn't the equals be the 30 insulin units?
Yeah, I'm setting it up right now.
Oh.
Insulin units is equal to, and as you said 30, okay? And that's the way you set it up. But they're wanting to know how many cc's will make it for 30. In other words, an insulin vial labeled 30, blah, blah, blah. Tyler's insulin dosage is 30 insulin units. How many cubic centimeters, cc's, are needed for Tyler's dosage? And this is the setup. Remember, we can only cancel vertically and diagonally. Okay? And in this case, we're going to cross multiply. And that's going to be 40 times x is equal to 30 times 1. And divide by 30. I meant divide by 40. You do not need a calculator for this. 30 divided by 40. What happens to the zeros?
Cancel out.
They cancel out. And somebody tell me how to write 3/4 as a decimal. 75 cents.
75.
0.75.
So your answer is 0.75. That is not my favorite question. If I see one in the homework, you know, when we're doing homework problems, I'll tell you if I put that. I do not like this question. I'll tell you why I don't like it. Because they intentionally set it up for you to be what?
Confused.
Confused. All right. So that is that question. Anybody got a question on that one? All right.
No.
I want to go before, I want to look at 6.4 and see what the title is. Well, I know 6.5, I think, is inequalities, unless they've changed it. I think this is variation. Yeah. Okay. I'm going to wait a second on variation. We're going to go to the homework. I'm going to pull the study plan. And I'm going to pull up some questions on the study plan. So, content.
You have a work email.
6.3, study plan. Now I'll show you the questions that I like. Now, the first two questions and the Walmart equation I like. Those are okay. So the Walmart equation, let me show you right quick. I don't want that. Move that out of the way. Okay, here we go. The Walmart equation, that's a good one. The Father of the Year doing the sandbox, that's a good one. And I just took my kids down to the creek and they played in the creek. That was their sandbox. And the 3 pieces of property. Those are all 3 good test questions. I despise this question because I feel like when I read it, it might as well say, let's try to confuse the student as much as possible. So I do not like this question. So I would probably not put that one on the test, but you do need to know it. But I'll find one better. I tell you the one I like. I'll show you the one I like. This is the one I like when you're talking about direct proportion. I got a triangle and I got a little triangle. This is called similar, and I don't know how to spell similar, triangles. Somebody tell me, is there a U here or is it I? Similar. I think it's similar. And I want you to tell me if this is 10, this is 2, this is 5, and this is X. Find X. There's several ways you can do it, and you'll get the same answer. I want you to take a minute and find X, and you're going to set it up just like this with equal proportion. You're going to set a fraction equal to a fraction. So go ahead and take a minute and do that. This is the kind of question I would put on the test for the direct proportion. Now, the biggest thing here is for students to be, can anybody think of the word? Starts with a C. Be blank. Anybody know what word I'm thinking of? C-O-N-S-I-S. Okay, nobody's figured it out yet. Consistent. Be consistent. What does that mean? That means whatever you put on one, be consistent. Is it A-N-T? Be consistent. All right, here is my vertical distance. Here is my vertical distance. This is my linear distance. This is my horizontal distance. This is my horizontal distance. Does everybody understand that? Now, if I set my, the way that I set up my direct proportion, I want to be consistent. What do I mean? Well, let's say I put 10 to 5. 10 is to 5. What should I put over here? That means I want y'all to interact with me. 10 is to 5 as
2 is to X.
Okay, why did you pick 2 is to X? Why didn't you do X is to 2?
Because you did 10 over 5. And if
because I did vertical to horizontal.
Yeah.
If you do vertical to horizontal on the left-hand side, then what do you need to do on the right-hand side?
Same thing.
Vertical to horizontal. And that's what be consistent means. Now, what if I did 5 to 10? Then what do I do on this side?
Same
X.
thing.
to 2. You got to be consistent. That is the only thing you have to remember when you do direct proportion. And that's what this is. Direct proportion. So cross multiply. 10x is equal to 10. Divide by 10. X is equal to 1. That is the type of question I would put on a test. Everybody that did it correctly got 1. You could set this 5 is to 10 as x is to 2. You could have said 1 is to 5 as 2 is to 10. You could have said 5 is to 1 as 10 is to 2. You could have set it up 4 or 5 different ways. And what did you get? You got 1. Be consistent. Whatever you set up on the left, you set the same proportion on the right. You got to be consistent. That's the type of question I would have asked. Now let's look through the.
It's 1:15.
Oh, it's time to go. Okay, well, I wasn't able to go over. We'll go over 6.4 come Monday. Y'all have all weekend to work on 6.1 through 6.3. I am expecting you to send questions on those sections Monday. If I don't receive questions on Monday, what am I to assume?
That we know it.
That you know it. I'm going on to 6.4. So y'all have a good weekend, and I will see y'all Monday.
You too.
See ya.